Now, to quote the old adage, many a good tune has been played on an old fiddle, and many a good horror story has been written in an old book, as is the case with these awesome books. Hi guys, welcome to another video. Hope you're all keeping well. Now in this video I'd like to depart from the movie reviews for the time being and give you a quick update on how me recollecting of the panned books of horror has been going. Since the first video about the panned books of horror, I've managed to accrue a couple more titles, like, you know, on eBay and Amazon and that. So I'm pretty pleased with the way my collection is going. So I've got quite a few actually. So without further ado, I'm just going to show you the titles what I've got so far. So the first, and they're all in order as well of when the panned books of horror were, were sort of like published, the editions and that. So we're going to get right into it. So the first one is, of course, the reprint from a couple of years ago of the very first edition of the panned book of horror stories. Fantastic cover, that, guys. I wish they would reprint all these books again in in these sort of like formats and that, keeping the original cover, but reissuing them. So if any publishers out there are watching this video, get these out again. Fantastic. Yeah, so there you go, that's number one. Now we've got the second panned book of horror stories. Love these covers, guys. Yeah, the actual cover from the second panned book of horror stories. So there you go. Now, moving on to the next one, we have got the fourth book of panned horror stories. There you go. Fifth panned book of horror stories, edited by Herbert Van Dahl. Really bring back the memories, these guys, when I used to go as a teenager, when I used to go into the local library, and I was always excited when I saw a new edition, on the bookshelves. I'd snap it up right away in that, yeah. And also the Mary Danby books, the great horror stories as well, yeah. Yeah, such a staple of me younger, my younger days, guys, in the 70s, reading these books, yeah. So there you go. That's the fifth panned book of horror stories. You got the sixth panned book of horror stories. Again, fantastic cover, and there's the back. Nice. And now, moving on, we've got the eighth panned book of horror stories. Again, edited by the great Herbert Van Dahl. We've got the ninth panned book of horror stories. That creasiness certainly doesn't detract from the brilliance of these covers, guys. Yeah, real gems they are. There you go, that's the ninth panned book of horror stories. We've got the 12th panned book of horror stories. Yeah, love these covers, very eye-catching and that, yeah, and as I say, really evokes the memories of the 70s. One of my favourite covers now, the 13th panned book of horror stories. Rather menacing werewolf face there, guys. You notice the cover, the main title slightly sort of like in smaller print. So that was the way that the panned books went after the first couple of publications. He started doing them in this format, yeah. And then you've got the 14th panned book of horror stories. The 15th panned book of horror stories. One I only got yesterday, the 16th panned book of horror stories. Love that cover. Well, they're all good. And finally, got the 21st panned book of horror stories. So there you go, guys. That's me That's my recollection of the panned books of horror stories so far. Yeah, I'm doing pretty well, aren't I? Yeah. Always get a buzz out of finding sort of like more editions on eBay and Amazon and that. Yeah. So yeah, fingers crossed, guys. I'll get them all in the end. Yeah. Oh yeah, these are my all-time favourites. Horror short story books. I don't care what you say. There's some real gems in these, yeah. And I'd rather read these books than compare to some of the anthologies that are published now and that. A lot of the stories again, like I was saying in the video about the anthologies, they're very, very arty, and I think some of the authors try to be a bit too vague, too clever. When they write these stories, there's not much action in them. There's not much plot in that. But those guys, yeah, Stephen King's stories in a couple of them as well, and that. So you've got what I like about them. You've got a good mixture. You've got like the famous authors, and you've got like new authors. Well, in that time, new authors and that sending their stories in and that. Yeah. So oh yeah, I'm really made up having these guys. Yeah, having these again. Yeah, I love collecting these old books and that. Revisiting them. That. Yeah. And are you a fan of the Pan Book of Horror Stories? Have you got every single issue? Leave your comments down. Leave your comments down below. I'd be very interested to interact with you. Have you got what your favourite stories were? So yes, as I say, I'd be very interested to hear. If you like the Pan Book Horror Stories, leave your comments down below. Talk for hours about them and that. Fantastic. And Herbert Van Thal was really on the money when he edited those books, and then of course Clarence Paget took over and that. So there you go, guys. That's my update on the recollecting of the Pan Book of Horror Stories. So next time I do one in this topic, hopefully I'll have a couple of more to show. Okay, well, enjoy the rest of the weekend. Stay safe, and I'll talk to you all again soon.